You're listening to In Session, where marriage and family therapist Mark Ponce sits down with your therapist and other therapists in the community to ask them who they are, why they do the work, and what keeps them coming back. Whether you're in therapy, looking to start your therapeutic journey, or just wanting to learn more, this is the show for you. Thank you for being here. Please enjoy today's episode.
Ian, thank you so much for coming today. I'm so glad to have you. We can finally get our schedules together and finally get this podcast going.
Yeah. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this, so I'm glad we can make it happen.
Cool. I'm getting the nerves out. It's the first episode.
Yeah, got to.
I feel so important. Okay, well, why don't we start with, let's talk about your journey to become a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Why you chose the route, how it all started for you, what made you choose psychology undergrad, all of it.
Right. Yeah. So I grew up in a pretty small town called Zillah, Washington. Population about 3,000 people. And so I feel like mental health in general is just not really in the common conversation. It's not a common topic, really. But I've always had this, I guess, just underlying interest in kind of what makes people the way they are, what's really got them to this point in their lives, and why some people have certain quirks and some don't.
Yeah.
You know? And so grew up in a small town. I did cross country and track, which is what took me to Whitworth University to
go Bucks.
Yep. Right. And so the journey took me to Spokane, to Whitworth to run initially. And I was just going into something health science related. Vaguely, or the goal was PT. I didn't really know. It was just kind of what I chose initially. Just kind of got into the science classes like biology, and anybody that's taken it at Whitworth as a freshman, it's kind of known it's not the easiest class.
Mm-hmm.
And so did that, and after kind of the first semester, after not doing as well as I would have hoped, I would say, in those classes, but continuing on to spring semester of freshman year, I ended up taking a psychology class.
Was that like a Psych 101 or was it?
Yeah. It was intro to psychology. Yeah. So I think it was just Psych 101.
Yeah.
And I was taking that alongside, just as an elective alongside kind of the more required classes like biology again.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was not liking the biology track at all. And so, yeah, I just felt like I wanted to switch majors and go a different route. And being in that psychology class freshman year just really was kind of a pivoting moment in life. I felt like it just really resonated with me. I wish I could remember the exact moment of wanting to be a therapist, but unfortunately I don't recall exactly. But
Right.
I just remember wanting a different path for school, and being in that psychology class freshman year, it really it just jumped out at me. And when I took it, I just felt like it was so interesting to me. It just felt like a good fit. And then so end of spring semester freshman year, just kind of changed majors and kind of just stuck it out from there.
Yeah. When you did that, did it feel like a big move, like a big shift in your vocational life, or were you still too young to know the magnitude of what you were doing?
I think sort of. It's, I mean, in like the town I grew up, right? Tiny. There's not a therapist in my town, and nor have I. No.
Okay.
Nor is there really like. Had I even really heard about it? We'll get into it obviously later, but like having clients that are a younger population, you know, even just in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so cool that I get to sit with them, because quite frankly, at their age, like therapy was not on my mind. And so it was quite a shift, I guess, to take that path. Honestly, at the beginning, I don't think I thought too much into it. But as like school just kind of progressed, I just fell in love with it. It just made sense. I feel like it fits my personality a lot. And it's just at this point, just a part of who I am, really.
It's very true. I've known Ian for a long time now. Just a little background on him and I. We met in undergrad, and we really got close when we were TAs together, and we were like one of maybe 6 or 7 males in our psychology major. So it was hard not to connect with one another.
Right.
But funny thing is, we lived in the same dorm freshman and sophomore year, and I was on the track team too. So him and I were teammates.
Yeah.
But never talked one word to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe complimented him on basketball when I saw him at the UREC. But other than that, we never got close until the back half of our undergrad experience together. And I invited him out to play basketball, and the story was written then. I mean, we ended up choosing to go pursue our master's in marriage and family therapy together. We became like roommates. We lived together, and we really grew as clinicians together. And I moved back here to the west side of Washington State while Ian stayed over there on the east side. And it's just so fun to grow in our careers together, knowing we're doing things that we love. And when Ian says that his personality or himself, it just fits him, the psychology and therapy realm, it really does. Like, you'll hear it through this conversation, just how much he's connected to the field and the work and healing and helping people. And it's really beautiful. I'm so glad you're here again. I can't stress that enough. If we can go back, I mean, I'd love to know, when you made the decision to switch to your major to psychology and go the therapy route, how was the family reacting back in the small town? Did they have any big reactions? What did they think of that when you chose that?
I don't really. I wish I could remember more vividly kind of those moments, but I think honestly, I was just fortunate enough to have a pretty supportive family. I think people in my family had their fair struggles of mental health, and so kind of, I think they understood it. I think they respected it. I don't know if they knew as much about what it entailed or what that was going to look like per se, in detail, but yeah, I think fortunately just pretty supportive. Honestly, I never felt like it was I was like looked down upon for that decision or thought of differently. I think it was more so they were just happy to see that I chose something that obviously I was interested in, and continue to be interested in it as school progressed. Right, I didn't feel the urge to I wasn't really questioning a lot. I wasn't thinking like, is this the right path? It just
felt right.
Yeah, it just made sense, really. Which is, I'm honestly so blessed to be able to say that, to like find something that just fits me so well.
Yeah.
And not, not have to search for like, what is my ultimate goal in life? I mean, I feel like one of the reasons I'm here is to be a therapist. So yeah, it's a really awesome career. But yeah, I had plenty of support.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like such a warm hug. When you're on the adventure to learn about what you love in college and what connects with you, it's so nice to have family just supporting you by your side, or at least not throwing shade randomly, because you're just figuring it all out yourself. You're 18, 19 years old figuring things out. So
yeah.
But still nice to have that warm embrace, something to fall back onto.
Right. Yeah, and the funny thing is, I remember having the thought, kind of before making that complete shift to psychology, like spring of freshman year, thinking like, is college for me? Like, should I be here?
Sure.
Just because I had
Yeah.
some struggles in classes, and like I felt like up to college, high school was relatively easy.
Uh-huh.
I didn't feel like it was too much of a stressor. And then I get to college and I'm doing classes that I don't really enjoy. I'm not really getting the greatest grades. And I remember having the thought like, should I still go to college? Should I keep even trying? Should I just figure out a different path for life?
Huh.
Um,
I don't think I knew that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then I stuck with it. I finished out spring semester freshman year, and like I said, I love the psychology class, and so it's always funny to think about like what life would have been if I didn't take that class freshman year.
Oh,
right,
man. Yeah.
there's a chance I wouldn't even be sitting here. So, yeah, it's just interesting how life takes us certain ways.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting to think about those types of things that like even decisions that feel small in the moment can be life-altering decisions for the rest of it.
Right.
I think about Ian and I have had plenty conversations about the fact that the day him and I really hit it off, we ended up parking our cars next to each other in our driveway and ended up getting home at the same time. I mean, we lived in different places at the time, and I ended up having plans to play basketball with some other group of friends. And I saw him, and I don't know if you could tell in the camera, but he is pretty tall.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, we need another, right? And we've talked about it plenty since then of like, we've become such close, good friends that if that never happened, or if one of us got held back, or, I didn't guts up to ask this dude who I barely knew to come play basketball,
Yeah.
what life could be like. And it's pretty interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about, I had my own experience on the track team. I was a thrower. I threw javelin, but you ran,
Yeah.
different distances and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience there. What was it like transitioning from high school running to college running and being on a college team?
Yeah. It's so, when I reflect back, I don't think I had this awareness at the time per se, but I went to a high school where we're typically lower mileage. I would say very much more intentional mileage. For some schools, they're running at their peak week 60, 70 miles a week. My school's probably 30 at most, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's so it was quite an adjustment to going from that lower mileage up to the college level. I wasn't really the fastest guy by any means, but I just loved running. That's kind of, at that point in time, that's really where my heart was. I loved it. I loved the challenge. I loved that the camaraderie of being on a team, especially anybody that's a distance runner knows that it's pretty hard at times, right? It's you against yourself. And there's something to be said about that kind of level of struggle or suffering together with a team.
Sure, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. But it's I ran the 800 primarily. I think my body struggled to adjust to the higher mileage.
Sure.
I never really had shin splints up until college. I'd heard about it, never really experienced it. And they were just pretty bad freshman year. And so didn't get to run a ton of races, and I wasn't the fastest guy. And for anybody that knows, that Whitworth is a D3 Division III school, so there's no athletic scholarship. So you're doing it just for fun,
Yeah,
for the love of the game.
for the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, eventually as kind of freshman year came to a close, there's just a lot of shifts. Running was a part of my life all 4 years of high school. This 1 year in college, I was switching majors. So around the same time I switched majors, I also decided that I just kind of wanted to focus on school. It took a lot of time. I was injured a lot. Didn't really get a run, didn't really get a race, which racing's the fun part. You get to test your, just kind of where you're at. And I wasn't able to do that. And so just kind of made the decision kind of after talking to family and stuff, like it's a time commitment. I'm not even getting to really do the fun parts. I'm not necessarily competing. And it just felt like the right choice to focus on school at that point in time. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm picking out right now this love for running you have, because for the length of time I've known you, you've always been, out on runs and, whenever you've had the capacity, because our program was, which I'll ask you about in a second, our program was something else.
Yeah.
But for the people who don't know, you just finished a marathon.
Yeah.
The other weekend, I believe.
Yeah. About 6 days ago.
Yep. And then he's right here shooting this podcast.
Yeah.
Shows you his heart. But tell me about the marathon. It's how many miles?
26.2.
26.2. My gosh. That's how much I know about running.
Yeah.
26.2 miles. And yeah, tell me about the thought process throughout and how you survived running that long.
Yeah. It was, so as we've kind of already touched on, I still live in Spokane. And so, I felt like I needed something to work towards. And I told myself for a couple of years I should run Bloomsday. And for those of you who don't know, it's just a ginormous, fun run. It's a 12K, so just about 7.5 miles. In Spokane, huge. I ran it this year, and there was 30,000 people.
That's Bloomsday.
Yeah, Bloomsday.
Yep.
So that's early May, and that's even a small year. I was looking at kind of the history of it at one point, and there was a point where I think it hit 50 or 60,000 people.
Jeez, who knew Spokane can even fit that many people?
I know exactly.
Right.
And so yeah, I trained starting at the beginning of 2025. I started running, and I remember those first couple runs. I mean, I'm not even getting to 2 miles. And I mean, at the point of the marathon, I was running that marathon at a faster pace than I could do 2 miles when I started. And so, yeah, I just started running. I just try to be consistent. So when it comes to running, that's just, you got to get the momentum going where it just becomes part of the routine.
Sure. Yeah.
Where you don't really second guess. Some days I don't want to do it, but I do it because I know how good I feel after. And so I did Bloomsday, and I remember telling myself in high school, at some point in my life, I want to run a marathon. Felt like that was just one of my first like bucket list items I had in life. And so I got in shape for Bloomsday, and I just figured, might as well keep running.
Sure.
And so,
loved it that much.
Yeah, exactly. I did. I loved, that was my therapy, right? Because, if anybody that's a runner knows, when you're kind of in the pain cave of a long run or a hard run, nothing else in the world matters but that run at that moment. And so all the stresses, all the anxieties of life, they just kind of go out the window, at least temporarily.
Sure.
You don't have to think about them. And so, yeah, that was in beginning of May. And so this marathon just happened last Sunday. So it was October 12th. So a little over 5 months of continuing to run, just upping mileage. And yeah, last Sunday, 7 a.m. Was the start time. Of course, a couple days prior, it was like 80 degrees and sunny, so it would have been the perfect day to run in the morning. But marathon morning, we get up and it's, 42 and
Oh my
raining
God.
and pouring rain. But regardless, I mean, the run's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just something to embrace. And yeah, I had the goal. The biggest goal for me was to see if I could break 4 hours, and I ran in 3 hours and 59 minutes. So
My God.
last one to get in before the 4 hour mark. And yeah, it was honestly an incredible experience.
I imagine.
One of the most rewarding things I've been able to do in my life.
Yeah. And if I can ask, I mean, you described this pain cave, and as a non-runner myself,
Yeah.
you know, I want to understand the pain cave a little more. And if you notice, if it's like something that shows up at a specific time, like when it showed up for you on that run, and the thoughts that you had to think, or things you had to feel, or behaviors you had to do, to keep yourself in it, how'd you do it?
Yeah. One, definitely music helps. Having headphones and a good playlist throughout this whole run, music is important. But then the pain cave specifically, I felt pretty good up until mile 17, 18, probably. And at that point, my knee started to hurt, because at that point we're about approaching 3 hours of consistent running on pavement. So that gets pretty hard on the knees. And yeah, it's just, you start having those thoughts of like, nobody's forcing you to be out here right now. Like, what is stopping you from quitting? You know, you get there, this sucks. This is really hard. You can walk just for a little bit. All these things, but I just kept reminding myself that I didn't run for 9 months just to give up when I got there, when it got hard. Right? It's I worked pretty hard. There's half of the runs I probably, I get up and I would run in the morning before I see clients. There's plenty of times where I'm thinking I could just go back to bed for another hour, right? But I get up and I run, and so I'm just constantly reflecting back about those moments of like, I didn't push through all this just to give up when I'm 17 miles and I got 9 left.
Right. Right. You didn't train all that time, put all that energy in to give up halfway.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, I think there's something special about race day. Anybody that's done even just like a community 5K, right? There's an energy to being there and having the crowd cheering you on. And specifically, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of family and friends show up and cheer me on.
I'm unsurprised.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to make it, but
that's all right. That's all right. I know you there in spirit.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, there's just, it's a whole different feel. You get the excitement of people watching you. I mean, get to demonstrate all the hard work that you put in, right? And so, yeah, it was a great experience. Difficult, but one of the most rewarding moments in life, honestly.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I mean, to run that much puts you in like the 1% of people who's ever done this. And to do it and finish and feel all of that. What was the feeling like at the end of that race for you? Was it like, oh, I'm going to crash now and just knock out? Or did you get to bask in your glory for a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny having, I haven't talked about on here yet, but pretty big fantasy football guy. And this ties in. It's just having friends there. And I had a bet with my brother-in-law about who's going to win the Seahawks game. Betting on the Seahawks to win, of course. And one of my friends just comes up to me initially. It's just like, Jason, 60-yard touchdown.
Oh my God.
Just had to let me know right after as I'm finishing my marathon.
It ain't about you anymore. It's about JSN.
Yeah, exactly. But no, in that moment, it's what's so interesting is I I just felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment, like I've already said, and just connection.
Mhm.
I had so many people there supporting me who got there woke themselves up
Mm.
at 5 a.m. just so I could be up and be at the start line
So
for me.
special. Yeah.
Yeah. Family, friends who just wanted to support me. And it's so interesting how difficult of a task a marathon is, but once I finished it, and kind of, the soreness of the next couple days goes away, you're just like, I want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting experience it's such a struggle. It's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Objectively, it's not enjoyable in the moment, but it's so appealing. Because my next thought, I don't know if I'll ever get to this, because it's quite a time commitment to train for these things. But I'm like, what if I could do an ultra marathon?
In an ultra marathon.
Anything over 26.2 miles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But some of them are a shorter ultra marathon.
For sure.
So
Sure.
an ultra marathon or a normal marathon is like a 42-kilometer run.
Okay.
But some of the shorter ultra marathons, like a 50 kilometers, so about 31 miles. And it's just, now that I've done the marathon, it's like, well, why not do an ultra marathon?
Yeah.
Right. The sky's the limit. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, it's just my mind that would stop me from doing things on my body.
Yeah. That's a question that came up for me as you were talking about this pain cave. I just love that term.
Yeah.
It's a new term for my back pocket.
Yeah.
What do you make of the saying that your mind gives up first before your body does? And did you experience that on your run or on any runs you've done?
Yeah. It's very consistently, because it's so interesting that, like, I'm 9-10 miles out from the finish and my body's like, just stop. But I kept running and I got to the finish line. Right. My mind gave up way sooner than my body did. And I just think about, like, running so funny because you can have like a like at the peak of peak week in training, so about two weeks out from the marathon, I went on like a 20-mile run by myself. And it's like I could do that, but then the last long run about a week out from the marathon, I ran 10 miles, and 3 miles in, I'm like, why am I doing this? I remember having this thought of, like, you start having these inner negotiations. Like, if I stop at like 7 or 8 miles, like, later in the week, I can add a couple miles in.
Yeah, it's like me on the treadmill. Like, maybe I can get to 7 minutes, but if I stop right now, maybe I'll go get some sit-ups in or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? Once the inner negotiations start coming into play.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of like a warning sign for me in those moments of, like, I just reminded myself in certain runs, like, this is pain practice. Because, like, you have to just get used to that being comfortably uncomfortable. A similar mantra I sometimes talk about with clients.
Yeah.
But it's, running's funny. You do a 20-miler by yourself, and then I'm only going 10 miles a week after, and at mile 3, I'm like, I want to be done. This is what I'm spending my Saturday morning doing. Like,
right.
I could have slept in.
Starts to suck, and the brain's like, let's tap out now.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get it done,
and
the day just feels good after that. And I'll tell you what, like, a beer after that is way better than a beer without a run.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah.
So imagine. Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, what an accomplishment to have ran a marathon. I've known that you've been training for this for a long time, and, like, to see it happen for the day to come.
Yeah.
So exciting for me as your friend to watch you do it, because I know this was so important to you.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm hearing a lot of themes of your mind-body connection. I'm hearing a lot of themes of just being attuned to yourself, slowing down parts of self that want to, that want to tap out when things get hard, or not embrace the discomfort of runs. I'm wondering, how do you take some of the training you've done from running, some of the mental fortitude you've had to grow in being a runner, into the therapy space as you work with clients?
Like, how do some of those things kind of carry over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so one of the modalities that I would say, or one of the elements of a modality that I use quite often, experiential therapy, just this kind of idea that you as a therapist is a tool within itself. Right. And so that when this obviously, when we kind of learned about this stuff in grad school, that was just something that resonated with me. I've done my own work. I've been a client in a therapist's office.
Yeah.
And there was just certain things that I saw in that therapist that I really enjoyed and really wanted to mimic in my own practice. And one of those things was using yourself as a tool in the therapy room.
Sure.
Right. So I think about it to connect kind of the running and therapy piece is I know how much better life feels when I'm doing these hard things every day. Right.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, and I know it is for me, having just little minor things that we don't necessarily want to do, but we know on the other side of it, we're going to feel better about. Having those things in your life is so important.
You're talking like working out, or what examples come to mind when you're
working out is just a big one.
Yeah.
I think with I've had these conversations with clients about what are incremental things that we can kind of incorporate into life that can be difficult, but we know we're able to accomplish. And I think for a couple reasons we do that. But I think the main one is that I think it just instills confidence that you're capable of doing more than you think you can.
Yeah. I talk a lot about that with my clients too.
Yeah.
And when we're exploring goal setting, when my client really wants to reach some point in their life, whether it be I keep coming back to working out because that's what's on the top of mind.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's say they want to get to just feel more healthy. Okay, here's a big goal. What does it mean to feel more healthy?
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? What does it look like in your life? And these incremental steps is something that, I think about too, because I want my client to feel like there's success along the way. It's so easy to be I want to feel more healthy. And then tomorrow, if I'm not feeling more healthy, then it all kind of feels like trash. It all feels like a waste, whatever we're doing. But if we're feeling we're going to, if something they want to do is go to the gym, if they say they want to go to the gym 6 days a week and have one rest day, what happens if this week we just shoot for 2 or shoot for 1?
Right.
And I think this is what you're talking about. Get the confidence, build that in themselves, that they know that, hey, I can do this. And then the next week I'll get 3. And then the week after that, maybe I'll get 5. And then I'll get to a consistent place that I want to be. And if we fail, at least we have enough in our own emotional bank account or resource in ourselves to be oh, we can do this. We know we can.
Yeah. I mean, I even had a situation with the client where it was just, I just challenged this client to try to go on a walk daily, be out in the sun. Sun's a undervalued, it's a lot more important than I think we realize, just being out, getting the sun on you. Just going on a walk. Obviously, it's so interesting when our mind, when we're in a mental rut, our mind tells us to do things that are just going to keep us in that rut. Right.
Tell me more. Yeah.
Right. It's when we're really struggling with, let's just say depression, for example,
Sure.
right? We want to isolate ourselves, because going out and doing things feels exhausting, right? But I think that ultimately just keeps us in that rut. And now I by no means saying it's easy to look past that urge to want to stay in bed all day. But I think there is something to be said about whatever you can do, whatever feels within your grasp at that moment, to just slowly expand, or slowly take just a step out of the comfort zone here and there. Right? Just do things like, I know when we're struggling and we want to be alone, just isolate ourselves. It's even a phone call with a friend.
Yeah.
Can just be a highlight of a week, a month, even a year, right?
And sometimes when you're so stuck in that pain cave, if you will, in an emotional pain cave,
yeah,
it's so hard to see that a lot of what's missing in our system, and this isn't an oversimplification of like a very complex issue, but something that's missing in our system is like that innate need for connection.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's just, there's so much value in finding the, well, actually, I guess I'll say this.
Sure.
I think a big part of my therapy is I want to be a validating, comforting space. But also part of the space is challenging little things, right? If we don't change anything, nothing's going to change. And that just looks different for everybody, right? It could be going on a walk. It could be working out 6 times a week.
Sure.
Yeah. It could be something like taking a shower that day. Right. It just looks different for everybody. But to even kind of connect to one of your earlier questions about how does this kind of running translate to the therapy room, is like, I couldn't have ran a marathon when I started running in January, right? I was running under 2 miles.
Right.
But just 10 months later of consistency of doing little things, minor things to push ourselves, I got to a space I never thought I'd be able to. I can't imagine, 2 years ago, me couldn't imagine being in the type of shape to run a marathon. It's just all about starting what feels reasonable, and how you can be comfortably uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm listening to you right now, right, it's like, I know that you're talking running and in your journey there, and I can't help but hear it as almost a message to people on the fence about starting therapy. Because like you said, it's, if you think back, you can run a marathon back in January, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
And it's like, people can't heal from some of the things that they've experienced in their life or meet their big goals like right away. There is like this long duration of hard work, of processing, of consistency that leads you to this big goal you ultimately want to get to. What are your thoughts on like longer term therapy for clients? I feel like as I'm listening to you, it sounds like you support the idea of having a client in the chair with you for a longer period of time.
Yeah. It's I think just from my perceptions of everything, is that I think there's a lot of value in it. I know I love it. I love that feeling of having a pretty strong therapeutic relationship, because that's really at the foundation of my therapy. It's something I even bring up in the first session of like, I'm very relationship based.
Sure.
I think having a
Yeah, I
strong
say the
therapeutic
same thing.
relation. Yeah. Because I think having a strong therapeutic relationship is crucial.
How come? What's your take on that?
I think it's the difference between having meaningful conversations, or maybe not meaningful conversations. Put simply, like the difference between getting advice from a coworker or a childhood friend, right? They could say the same message to you, but it just has different sticking power.
Oh,
And I think you see that in the therapy room. There's so many moments where, I'm meeting with a new client, and early on they might say a point that I know in my mind might be something that I would challenge, or give maybe a little a gentle confrontation about. But I know that confronting that or challenging that in the third session is just not going to stick like it would in the 20th.
Sure. Yeah. Like, this person barely knows you.
Right.
Why would they trust like what you have to say that much yet?
Right. And I will say though, I mean, it definitely, it's some people want to get in and they want to get out. They want to figure it out.
Fair.
And they want to leave.
Yeah.
And I respect that. If that's what how your mind works, you just want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
Go implement it, get out the door. I totally respect that. And yet at the same time, I think there's a lot of, let's say I'm meeting with a 30-year-old client that's just struggling with really just a lot of negative thoughts towards themselves.
Mm-hmm.
An idea that I would tell them is, you've had, right? We are habitual beings.
Yeah.
And we like to recognize patterns. So if you have patterns of, 20 to 30 years of thinking about yourself in one way, that's a pretty hard thing to unwind, or a shift in 3 months.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes, like, we got to create the new patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I've brought up that idea with some of my clients, where it almost feels like if this has been going on for so long, those rubber band balls as kids, that even, I guess you can do it as adults too, but like a bunch of rubber bands together.
Yeah.
And it's all, it feels like a long time of habits is like a rubber band ball continuing to just grow bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And if we want to unravel that, it takes some time.
Right.
We can't just like do certain moves and then the whole thing's like a bunch of rubber bands are everywhere. It's like one after the other. And sometimes the short-term work doesn't allow for a true unraveling of that rubber band ball.
And I think to even add on to that point, people add on rubber bands at different rates, right? We could have a 17-year-old that has a rubber band as big as a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
And you can just think of every session as like you're slowly popping off a rubber band. But it just looks different, right? We don't have, but yeah, I think it's just I love, the clients that I've seen at this point for like over a year.
Yeah.
And you just have that special therapeutic relationship, right? Where they come into your room and they're excited to tell you about something good that happened, or a shift in the way they think, or just many things. It's the therapeutic relationship is just, I think it's crucial. And yeah, I love having the opportunity and the privilege to work with clients long term.
I know it feels so nice and such a privilege to be led into people's lives.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for me, when I'm thinking about the therapeutic relationship too, because Ian and I were trained the same, we see the work the same.
Mm-hmm.
I too believe that what leads to true change for people is knowing that they have someone who they have a strong relationship with, who can push them to change, push them in a trustworthy and caring way to change. And for me, I hope with all my clients, if any of my clients are listening, that at the end of the day, beyond any modality, beyond any therapeutic skill I use or therapeutic or coping skill that we talk about, I just want them to know that I care,
Right.
that I care about them, that I'm thinking about them.
Yeah.
Because it is an honor that I'm let into their life, and I want to see them grow to the point that they want to grow. And I think the way they do that is through the relationship we build. So I put a lot of stress on that too.
Yeah.
You mentioned coming to a year with some clients, and I know you and I we just hit our 1 year mark of, professionally paid full-time therapist.
Yeah.
How does that feel for you to get there? Does it ever come up in your work where you're thinking about the length of time that you've been doing this job?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love, I've enjoyed thoroughly, kind of the journey I've got to be on. I have the privilege of saying I love going to work.
Me too.
You know, not to say some days I wouldn't rather be golfing or something.
Fair.
Right. Hitting 18 in the morning, but, but I don't dread work. I love getting to see my clients. I love getting to hear about their week. And it is so crazy to think like I've been a part of some of these people's lives for a year at this point. It's also crazy because if we add, client hours, I mean, we've seen clients for, we're pushing almost 3 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. On the way to 3,000 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so crazy because it feels like so, like not that long ago that we were nervous about our first client.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
This idea of this person's coming to me to give them help.
Yeah. Right. Like they're seeking a service from me.
Yeah.
How do I serve?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just feel like a guy who is interested in a certain topic. And then, those first few sessions, you're nervous.
Yep, of course.
And it's like, what if I just become a deer in headlights when I'm in the therapy space, those first few sessions? And it's so, I get an overwhelming sense of gratitude and just this feeling of being blessed that I'm now to a point where there's definitely moments where, I might feel like this is a little bit of a more unique situation. It might feel a little more out of the comfort zone, but for the most part, like I feel comfortable and I'm excited. I mean, at least a couple times a month, I'm meeting a new client.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't even think about, I don't have a second, I'm not overthinking that. It's just, I get to meet a new client today. I get to see why they're here, what they want to get out of it.
Do you think that comes from just the reps of being in the chair across from a client? Or do you think it comes from, I guess it could be both, just like you becoming more confident in yourself and how you show up? Probably a mix of both.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of just having the repetitions, the hours,
Sure.
and I think also just the growth of me as a person. I think generally I've become more confident in myself and what I'm, and kind of the both in the therapy space and just out. I think I'm more content with who I am, and that's just through growth and healing as a person, and that carries over into many different spaces, but specifically the therapy room, because I trust in the hours I put in, the training I've received, and I also know that not everybody's gonna be think I'm a good fit, and that's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Right. I remind people, you don't become best friends with every single person you meet.
Right.
And so every therapist you meet is not going to be a perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And if I'm not that good match, I want to be that support, so at least they can maneuver finding somebody that they feel like would be.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've had to learn how to really digest that as not like a personal hit to you,
Yeah.
but rather like the client looking for just someone who feels they can really feel comfortable with and build that relationship with that we're talking about.
Right. And I think that's, yeah. And I think it's just, in that case, it's just me putting myself in their shoes.
Huh.
Right. I don't have, there's plenty of people where I enjoy them. I don't, dislike being around them by any means, but I'm not going to sit down and open up and expose the deepest, like most difficult trauma I've experienced in my life. Right. Or anything like that. It's just, you have to, just a big believer in the connection between therapist and client is just the most important piece.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's the foundation of the house. Like without it being there, the house it's going to crumble.
Totally agree. You mentioned earlier that in the early stages of seeing like your first client or second client and you're anticipating it as an intern or whatever it might be, there's this deer in the headlights moment.
Oh yeah.
I have like, oh shoot, the anxious thoughts start rolling in.
Yeah.
This person's coming to me. I need to provide this service. How do I do it? Feeling all the pressure.
Yeah.
If there are like early or therapists early in their career, intern therapists listening to this right now,
Mhm.
how did you get through it? I mean, how did you manage those first few sessions? If you could remember back all those hours, like what was that like for you? And how did you show up in the space in the way the client needed you to?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, it's kind of funny, but like when in doubt, just active listen it out. And because sometimes you're going to maybe you get a straightforward question from a client.
Sure.
Right. Especially in those early sessions. And you might not feel as confident to give a straightforward answer, or might not know how to maneuver a situation. As you already know, Mark, like the presence in the room is also just such a huge piece. The amount of times I've heard from a client, that's the first time I've said that out loud, is I think just shows how much just being present for them, being in the space, giving them an ear to listen, is just huge. And so when you get stuck, just be present.
Yeah.
We can actively listen, kind of reflect back to them what you're hearing from them. And this is why in grad school you get supervision, you get help. It's just 50 minutes, right? And as long as you can still provide them with presence, you're providing them with something. That's what supervision's for. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure it's like, we have these moments at the beginning where it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this 50 minutes? And sometimes that 50 minutes feels like 3, and sometimes it feels like 4 hours.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And so
happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, if you're ever stuck, I mean, just provide the client with an ear.
Yeah.
Listen.
I think a big reason clients come in, there's this issue, of course, they want to figure out, they want to work through, they want to process. And I think a part of them also is just hoping that someone is there that really gets them or really shows interest in getting them.
Yeah.
So as I listen to you here, it's like, yeah, the deer in the headlights moments happen. For me, sometimes it happens even today, even after all these hours, like I'm like, oh God, this client's asking me for something that maybe I'm not trained in, maybe I'm not the most versed in.
Yeah.
And like, how am I supposed to give them the relief they want? And I'm like, wait, what they want is relief. And like, I can give that through sitting with them and listening to them.
Yeah.
And, one of our favorite professors together, Dr. Bethy Campbell, she told me, I think she told us together actually, the foundation of our work is to be with clients, reflect their feelings, paraphrase, and attend to them. and if we can go to that, we're doing therapy as human beings.
Yeah.
And that sticks with me all the time when I feel lost or when I space out. I mean, I'm human. Sometimes clients are saying something and I'm like, shit, what did they just say?
Yeah.
I always reground myself, and I'd love to know what you do. I reground myself and, okay, so what I think I heard you say there is like, or let me make sure I'm on the same page as you, because I really do care and I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And anytime I do that, clients are like, okay, yeah, no, you get it. Like, you understand. I think that's part of the process too. Is there anything that brings you back into the moment that you do?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I was about to tell you the same thing, right? You're human. We're not robots. To any therapist that might be listening, you're human, and attention does not look the same every session. As much as I would love it to be, I want to be present for all 50 minutes for every single one of my clients.
Yeah.
I don't intentionally, maybe space off and start thinking about something else for a minute. And I certainly don't ever try to, right? I want to be present, and but sometimes it happens. And I just try to catch myself as quickly as I can. And just kind of same type of thing. Just try to reflect back to them, make sure I'm still following. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like you get those anxious thoughts about what the client's thinking of you. And my experience is even if you reflect back and you reflect back the wrong thing, most clients have corrected me and they've let me know.
Yeah.
And then we're back on course.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to this relationship question, or this relationship sentiment you're sharing. It's like we build that relationship so that moments like this too can feel like I reflected back, it felt real accurate. And they're like, not really.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, tell me more. And then we actually get on that same page and it builds that relationship piece.
Yeah.
And just, I think, shows everybody that there's a lot of care in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah. As therapists, we want our clients in that 50 minutes with them, or at least for me, I think about it like I want them to feel like I am like close to 100% with them, like you're saying, present with them, and I'm here for their story and their struggle. And as clinicians, we see so many clients a day.
Yeah.
How many clients do you tend to see in a day? And how do you go from a session that can feel like, a lot of affirmation and everything's going well, to maybe a couple that feels like super high conflict, they're arguing with each other, to maybe a kid, and then jumping around to all these sessions? How do you show up? How do you take care of yourself?
Yeah. Well, to answer the first question, I would say probably 5 to 6 clients a day. I think I've done a couple like 7 client days, and if I do that, I prefer to have it be a 4-day week, because that's just kind of a long day. But typically 5 or 6 is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
I mean, really, how to shift. I think I was really blessed with good, what I would say is just good internal barriers or boundaries.
Sure.
Where I could really sit with the client and some heavy emotions. And I'm just able to transition pretty well. I know that's not obviously how everybody operates. I think that's one of the reasons I feel like I'm so made for this job. Because I have that capability to sit with people and be in those heavy emotions. And then I mean, if it's a really hard session, because this will still occasionally happen, that's the biggest thing of being, I think, the importance of being in like a group practice where you can go talk with a supervisor. Right.
So important.
Because a lot of times I'm not asking for advice. I'm just asking for a couple minutes to vent myself about like this heavy session I just had.
Yeah. And that couple minutes of vent can feel so nourishing,
so transforming. Just,
yes.
total shift. But yeah, I think using support, obviously you is one of them too. We've occasionally had kind of a consultation call about something. And it's everything from maybe a funny session, something funny that happened, or a hard one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Does that answer the question fully?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what I think I hear you say.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. But it sounds like for you, jumping from session to session, you've either learned to, it's always came natural that you're able to digest and hold, and then once that 50 minutes hits or that client leaves, you're able to just not keep it with you for the next session. You're able to put it to the side until the next time you see that client, and then show up in the way you want to show up for your other clients.
Yeah. And obviously there's exceptions, but yeah, for the most part, I feel like I'm able to regulate myself quite well.
I mean, what would you say to like a beginning clinician, or I mean, I guess you don't even have to be a beginning clinician, but any clinician who struggles to leave the work at work, or to leave a client session in that client session while we go to the next one? How do they manage that?
Yeah. I think the first thing is really just be honest with yourself. Even if you have a small inkling that, maybe this session's kind of sticking with me a little bit more than I'd like. Be honest. That's why I think group practice is a big thing, or just in general, just having other therapists support.
Yeah.
We have a very unique career, and one that I think it's just important to have other therapists that you can kind of bounce ideas off of, or just have them listen to you when you need it. Because I think, we have support when it comes to family or friends. And those spaces are great too, when we just need time to kind of, relax, think about other things. But sometimes when you have those heavier sessions, I mean, just finding a supportive group of other therapists, other clinicians that have a general understanding, kind of been there. I think it just comes with being honest with yourself.
I love that.
Because I think without even realizing it, we second guess ourselves, or question ourselves, or I mean, even sometimes gaslight ourselves into thinking other things.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many times we know, I mean, this is why like clients know themselves better than I do.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. And they just need to be honest with themselves, because a lot of times they know the answer, but maybe for one reason or not, they're holding it back, or
comes with a level of discomfort
that
maybe they're just not ready for. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think with new clinicians, it's just keep that awareness, take care of yourself, right? As you know, when you go to grad school to be a therapist, self-care is an idea that is drilled into you.
Yeah.
Because it's as much as it's kind of discussed very heavily, it's important.
Yeah. Self-care, I feel like is one of those therapy buzzwords across the social medias nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if a lot of people actually know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we can actually sit here and say we know 100% what self-care is. What does it look like for you?
Yeah. Well, one, situations like this, I know we have obviously the mics, the camera, but I love having a beer, talking about things I enjoy. That to me, just, fills my cup, makes me feel better.
Get it?
And
Sorry.
Exactly. Pun intended. Golfing. As you and I did this morning before this podcast.
Lots of self-care for us before shooting.
Exactly. We've taken care of ourselves pretty well today.
Yeah.
Having a drink, talking about things that I enjoy, sports, football, fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
You and I share plenty of these similar interests. And just at the end of the day, it's just spending time doing activities with people I enjoy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an extrovert in that regard, that being around people I love, really, it's crucial to me to be able to do the work that I do. I think having true friends that want to, and family that want to, just have conversations with you, because we do a career where we're kind of a professional listener, right?
Yeah.
To simplify, it's oversimplified, but I mean,
Yeah.
we're listening. We're in a space where we're giving everybody else the opportunity to speak their truth and speak their reality. And I think just as a human, you want that. And so we got to find it outside in our friends and family, and just having our opportunity to speak about the things we love, do the things we love. And so, yeah, golf, fantasy football. I like thrift shopping. I like clothes.
Yeah.
And I think, running, obviously. I'm taking a
Of
break.
course.
I took a week off. So next week we'll kind of start back up on running. I kind of want to shift into doing running and lifting in the gym, kind of like a hybrid approach to things, just because, one, because I want to lift, and two, because it's cold and I want to work out, but I don't necessarily want to run on the cold because that sucks. But
Right. And I like everything you're sharing here, because I think they're all very relatable and tangible.
yeah,
Right? There's no hiding the sense that we like a cold beer, we like to play golf. We like to lean into the things that help us feel like we can empty this emotional load we're taking on throughout the day.
yeah,
Because it would be a lie if I were to say, like, in my own experience, I take on so much from like clients, and like my body holds on to that. So I have to lean into self-care. I mean, something I do on my way home from sessions is turn the music all the way up, roll the windows down, rain, sun, whatever it is, and just like belt it out, because my body just needs to get that energy out. And just like you, I lean into my friends. I've been getting in the habit of calling people on my way home too, and talking with my partner about things.
yeah,
And it just feels so nice to lean into that level of connection that I think all of us need at some point during our day, during our life, to de-stress a little bit, because life comes with so much.
yeah. In the same way. Yeah, I'm blessed to have good friends, a fiance that cares about me, family that cares about me, and I think that's just a huge piece, right? We're human at the end of the day. We sit in such an interesting role because we're sitting in a very one-sided vulnerability, right? Outside of the therapy space, you as a close friend, right? If we have these conversations, it's about something deep, it's probably going to be a lot of a give and take conversation. Like you're going
it's
to,
kind of like this right now.
exactly. You're going to, if we're in a vulnerable space, you're going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be vulnerable. But therapy is different in that regard, where I try as much as possible, and doing so intentionally, to give the clients a little bit of a window into what just makes me human.
Yeah.
But it's their session, right? And so I'm sitting with their vulnerability. And so it's such an interesting space. That's why I think I love this, you doing all this, starting a podcast, just kind of giving people a little glimpse into just the humanity behind the therapist.
Exactly that. Yeah.
It's because we are just human too, right? We have our struggles. And we, just like a client to a therapist, we connect with friends, family, maybe your own therapist too.
Oh yeah.
Therapists can have therapists.
And my therapist is fantastic. And she's probably going to listen to this.
Okay.
She's going to. So now I got extra points with my therapist.
Yeah.
Because she's great. She's helped me through so much.
You're definitely the favorite client.
What was that?
You're definitely the favorite.
Oh, have to be. Have to be. Right. Because we don't have favorite clients.
No.
We love them all.
Mm-hmm.
All the same.
Yep. Exactly.
So we've been talking about like a ton today, and we haven't talked too much about, how you practice, how you see the work, how you see change too much. You've touched on it, but this book here it's the 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work,
Yeah.
John Gottman, and you do couples therapy using the Gottman method. You don't have to talk about the book. I'm just wondering, what made you choose Gottman as your main couples therapy modality?
Yeah.
And like, how do you see change or connection for your couples come out of the use of Gottman?
Yeah. That's a great question. I use it because I love that they have, well, for those that may or may not know, right, Gottman, if you do the training, you kind of get this big old binder.
Oh, it's so big.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Full of papers.
Yeah.
And the reason I like that is because I think sometimes couples really enjoy having that tangible piece of paper in front of them that shows them what they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
When we're in grad school, we learn both Gottman method and emotion-focused therapy for couples. And so when we're seeing couples in school, we're encouraged to try both.
Yeah.
And so I did. And don't get me wrong, I love emotion-focused therapy too. I have nothing wrong to say about it. It's just Gottman is what I know you're smirking over here because that's what you like to use. But
I drank the Kool-Aid and I can't stop with the EFT.
Exactly.
But tell me more about Gottman.
Yeah, it's I enjoyed it and I tried it with a couple, and I try when I'm closing out with clients in general to ask what they're going to take away and maybe what they would have liked to see different. And I remember with a couple, it was like, I would have liked maybe just to have a little bit more of like worksheets, things to take home with us.
Sure. Yeah.
I know not every couple is like that, so I'm not trying to assume that every couple thinks that way. But I held on to that. And I think the biggest thing for me is I think it helps clients know what direction we're going, what we're working on. And I think as people are really improving their communication, working on how do we talk respectfully in the midst of hard conversations, I think it's just nice to have those visual cues in front of a piece of paper to help guide. Obviously, me to help interject,
right,
and guide. I think it just resonated with me. Plenty of research, right? Like 40 years.
Oh my gosh, right out of Seattle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not too far. It just, I don't know why more so Gottman than EFT, but it just stuck with me. I like the structure to it. Yeah. I like that, in the big old binder, there's kind of this diagram, what'd that be called? Where it's like the 3 circles and they kind of overlap slightly.
Yeah.
Venn diagram.
This is Venn. Yep. Pie chart? No. Sorry. Got it. I'm kidding.
Whatever. 3 circles, big components to the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's, friendship and intimacy.
Yeah.
Are we friends? Are we intimate? What does that look like? Are we just close? I think, do we like each other? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Would I want to be with this person, even if it wasn't an intimate relationship? Managing conflict, another circle, pretty straightforward. Can we manage conflict with one
whatever that looks like?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the other being create shared meeting.
Yeah.
Right. What are our goals as a couple? Where do we want to be at 5 years from now? That forward thinking. Because you come to find out, a lot of people don't have those kind of conversations, and so I think just kind of those 3 big components have just really resonated with me. As like kind of 3 big pillars to the Gottman method. And I love just the little things, like turning towards instead of away.
I mean, it sounds to me that like your clients too just have all really digested this.
Yeah.
I think it goes to show how much like your journey to figure out what fits. Like you said, we had to do both and figure out what feels right for you. Really sends clients on a right path to get where they want.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, like I also, I mean, of course, was trained in both. Level 1, of course. I'm not gonna misrepresent myself.
Level 2.
Right. But it's like, and I've used Gottman with clients, and it's fell flat, and I think that's because for me, it doesn't fit the way I see the work as much as it does for you.
Yeah.
I think it's so, like, sure, there's one thing of like being able to, say a modality fits you the best, and then there's another of like touching a lot of different modalities. But it really does make a difference in how the work's done, and I think it makes a difference in the trajectory of the way the clients move toward their level of change.
Yeah.
In the therapy space, as far as like change and growth goes, what's an indicator for you that a client's gotten there or progressed? Maybe is a better way to put it.
Well, let's talk about couples, because that's kind of where we're at, and even just to even add on to why I chose the Gottman method is because I've seen the people that are, couples that come to my office and are very intentional about, sticking with the process, using the things that I provide to them through Gottman. And I've seen the improvement, their ability to effectively listen, be present, and just really feel just this warm sense of love and connection between the couple. It's such a powerful feeling. And for any therapists that do see couples, the feeling of when it just finally kind of clicks with a couple and they're able to sit with these uncomfortable things or navigate a conflict in a way that they both feel heard, understood, valued.
God, it's such a beautiful thing,
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like that's the moment that keeps me in it, where I could see two people or even a client by themselves, just it clicks and they figure it out, and they're like, oh, it's like this wave kind of enters the energy of the space for me, and it's like everybody can feel it. And I hear that's what you're saying here.
Yeah. It's it's such a great thing. And it ultimately comes down to the intentionality of the client. All right. I tell clients it's 10% me and 90% them. If these things are going to be pretty hard to do if you only do them in my office and then leave and don't apply it in other ways. I think there's 168 hours in a week. Last time I checked, whatever. I see them for one of it.
Yeah.
So that's plenty of hours that they have to navigate life together without me there.
That's a big truth. Okay, say it one more time.
168 hours in a week, and I see them for one of them. So I hope that I'm not saying that wrong, but I think it is 168.
Yeah, so many hours.
Yeah, plenty of hours in a week. I see them for one. That's a whole lot of life that they have to navigate without me there. So if they don't practice the skills, and I get it, it's life gets chaotic.
It does.
Okay. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not trying to oversimplify, say just do this, it'll get better. But I think just in general, you have to be intentional in your relationships.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you get complacent, I think that's when we see those struggles manifest within the relationship of feeling like, we don't have dates anymore, for example, right?
Right.
Life gets chaotic. Come home, we're tired.
I mean, there's a level to it, right? And I think that's something I share with my clients as well, where it's like, I'm only here for just a little fraction of your life.
Yeah.
And in me being here with that, I don't come with this magic wand or these big phrases that are like, oh, like if you do this, like you said, if you do this, everything will be fine or be healed. I'm here to like walk alongside you to figure whatever that shit is, figure it out, and figuring it out doesn't look linear ever. No. It's like sometimes we end on like this like beautiful place. Other times we end and we don't really know what we've done.
Yeah.
But we got to take all of that. The level I'm talking about is like the client needs to take all of that outside of the space and do something with it, whether it be think more on it or make different choices or journal about it or like feel it and bring their awareness to it, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, you're right. There's so many more hours in the week. And that's where the change happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. There's only so much that can be done in an hour.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see the change and only implement, or like you're only focused to the changes in that hour, it can happen, but it's going to take a whole lot longer than if we're being intentional about our time outside of the space.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's not to say like long-term clients. It's making me think about that too. Like clients who've been there for a year or whatever it might be aren't taking it out of the space. I don't think that's what, at least we're not trying to say here.
Yeah.
But there is this sense of, because with long-term clients, it's just, we're figuring life out again, like 30 plus years of life or whatever it is, we're figuring it out, and that could take a long time.
Right.
And that's just not to say they're not putting the effort in. But there is this sense of like, how can we take some of the things? And I think that's our job too, to stress as well. And we can't assume that for clients, that a lot of the work happens outside of the space, and that's just the reality of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, even through, like if I see a client for a year, a lot of life happens in that year.
That's true.
Right. They might have came into the first session with a handful of things they want to address. We could gain another handful of things in that year. Yeah. So, definitely long-term therapy is not implying that they don't do anything outside a session. Simply just emphasizing a point of like, you have to be an active participant in the change you want to see in yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's, the more active we are, I think the better results we're going to see.
I agree with you. Well, Ian, I mean, we can talk forever.
Yeah.
We'll probably continue to talk more after we turn the mics off here. But I mean, I'll say I'm so glad to have you on today. I mean, I love your vulnerability and just your willingness to share, knowing that clients might listen to this, family, friends, everybody might listen to this, and you were so willing to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
I'm still cooking this up, but I want to ask every guest that I have on one question that every guest answers.
Yeah.
And I think the question I want to ask you is, if you think back in the years of your life and think back to your younger self, what's one thing you'd share with your younger self from you today that maybe they'd want to know or need to know, or that you want them to know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to give any groundbreaking answer, but I think I would just need younger me to know that everything's gonna be okay. Right. There's so many times in life where we have overwhelming worry, anxiety, sadness, stress, inserts whatever uncomfortable emotion. And I just think back at, I'm in this space now. I'm grateful to be here. I appreciate that you wanted me to be the first guest here. I'm in a great space in life, right? But there's moments in life where it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
There's moments where it feels quite dark and scary and uncomfortable. And I would just remind my younger self that it's going to be okay. It isn't always in the moment, but it will get there. And it's helping you become the person you are today. Right. And, I think that's what I'd tell them. I'd say it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, from what I know, and from what you just said, I think your younger self would be damn proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it.
This was very fun.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, let me I got this real quick. I gotta read more of the beers. Oh, I got this. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to my interview with Ian Redfield. I love getting the chance to deep dive into how he sees the work and learn things that I never knew about him even after all these years. If you want to connect with him, his practice and contact info is in the show notes. If you like this episode, please give it a download and share it with your friends and family. Thank you for helping me continue to drop barriers to therapy, and I look forward to seeing you next time when I'm in session.